Welcome back to the Journey to the FarLands. All right. Okay, let's burst out of here. Okay. No nasty things about, so we'll just close this sucker up. I will find west, which is that direction. Looks like I'm going to be using a boat early on. If I can make sure not to jump into the pit of doom. Yes. All right. Well, moving on here. Minecraft Beta 1.7.3. Walking westward to the FarLands. Because why not? There isn't anything better to do. Yeah. So, let's see. Get a boat. Get moving here. And drown chicken. And so, let's see. The size of the world as of the beginning of this episode is currently 6,671.91 megabytes. And this is the morning of the 550th day since leaving spawn. And we travel onwards. And let's see. Doggone it, I forgot to make sure my notepad was visible on the second screen. Because that's where I keep the questions. Yeah, okay, so let me get out of the boat. Drop that. Move onwards. And let's see here. Well, first thing I have to say is that the last several days have been, well, somebody in the comments put it very appropriately. It's been a heck of an emotional roller coaster this last few days. And amazing things have happened. And the interesting thing about it is that I had no plans to, nor did I actually even consider the idea of asking for anything like what has happened. Ew. Because that's just not something I do. But other folks had their own ideas, and it just snowballed like crazy. And then when the Hermitcraft recap guys got into it, OMG. Totally crazy. Completely and utterly insane. But goodness has come of it, because the car repairs have been taken care of, and I found myself in a position to be able to do some things that I've wanted to do for a long time and hadn't been able to. And so I have already ordered, and they're on the way, being processed for shipping, an exercise bike and a treadmill. Because between those things, I do believe that, okay, granted, I would have to start out slowly. Otherwise, that could result in difficulties. But start out slowly, work my way up to it, build up some endurance. Oh, hit the floor really badly, like, enough that I'm going to stop and have something to eat for some free healing. Okay. Actually, I'm thinking one of these, or two should be enough. Yeah. Oh, and I had two of them already there. Terrible. Okay, no problem. Pick this up and get it out of the way, and let's move onwards. So, yeah, there's been a lot of crazy going on. Let me put it this way. In the last week or so, I have received well over 300 notification emails telling me about people doing things at the tip jar and such. And, oh, wow, that's amazing. And all I can say now is that it is massively appreciated, extremely massively appreciated. But I think at this point, it might be appropriate to say that if you feel the need to or desire to donate for something, then how about Child's Play charity? Because that's what that's the fundraising goal for Journey to the FarLands. And once that goal is reached, I will finally be able to press F3 and find out how far I've come. I know it's a good long ways because I have pressed F3 once before. And that was quite a while back now. And there's been some long spaces with no episodes in all that time. In several long spaces like that. But it was March of either 2017 or 2018. I'm not 100% certain just this instant because I don't have that information in front of me. But at that time, the distance that I had gone as of then was about 610,000 blocks, which, after doing math, that converts to 379 miles and some change. That's a good long ways, and I know I've gone a pretty respectable distance since then. Exactly how far I couldn't begin to say, but, you know, yeah. So that's what I'm doing, what I'm thinking about, and so on. I really do sincerely appreciate all that folks have done, but trust me, I have been very well and truly taken care of here. Oh my God, have I ever been taken care of? Oy. Yeah. So on that note, how about I start getting towards some of the questions that I have a list of. Shut up, cow. And proceed to get to doing something about that. And by the way, because every once in a while somebody asks, yes, I am still accepting questions for this thing because I have no idea how long it's going to go on, but I do know that that time will probably be measured in years, if not decades. So, there is always a need for conversational talking material. Shut up with you. Apparently they will not. Okay, So, yeah, questions can be conveniently and easily left in the comments. I add them to, I have a text file where I put them all into, and I put them in. New questions go at the bottom of the list. And when I take questions off the list to answer them, I take them from the top of the list. So that way I'm always answering the oldest ones first, and so on. So that's how we work this. That's the way I'm doing. And now onward to some question-like material. Cheyenne McDaniel asks, where are you from? What is your favorite food? What was one of the first video games you played? Okay. 3 questions all bundled into one comment. That's cool. Where am I from? Originally, I was born in Massachusetts, in a small town in western Massachusetts that I'm certain probably nobody has ever heard of. You know, it's one of those things. And then sometime around 1971, my parents decided to move the family, of all places, to Oklahoma. I was never entirely sure why Oklahoma got picked, but there you go. And after Oklahoma, I have lived in Missouri, I have lived in Indianapolis, I have lived in Columbus, Ohio, and a few other various and sundry places until I ended up living here in Northeast Arkansas. And yeah, so I've been around the block a time or two, so to speak. Yeah, okay. What is my favorite food? Oh, that's a hard one to answer because I love a lot of foods. I really do. And that's part of my weight loss problem. I love too many foods. Too many, too much, and so on, yeah. But I think probably if I had to pick one, it would probably be pizza. I have always been a pizza lover. I love my pizza, especially the big meat lovers, you know, with all the different kinds of meat on it, and then you put a layer of extra cheese on top of that to hold it all down so that you don't get little pieces of sausage rolling onto the floor when you pick it up. That's irritating and wasteful. So yeah, probably pizza, although pasta would be a close second or perhaps a tie. I am definitely a pastaholic. I can't even allow myself to keep pasta around because, and I think I've mentioned this recently, that I get into eating pasta, and you know, I could make up like a 2-pound package of spaghetti and then sit back eating spaghetti while I watch videos or read something, and 3 or 4 hours later I've eaten the whole 2 pounds of spaghetti all by my lonesome. Yeah. So I don't have to wonder why I'm overweight. I know. Eat too much of things that make you get big, and you will definitely, absolutely get big. Yeah. So pizza is probably number 1. Pasta definitely number 2. And everything else is probably a tie for number 3. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, and The third of those three questions, I'll get on course here. The third of those three questions was, what was one of the first video games you played? Okay. Back when I was a kid, teenager, there weren't many video games out there. As a matter of fact, for most of that time, there were no video games, period. They hadn't been invented yet. And the first video game I played was on an occasion where I don't even remember why, but for some reason I went along with my sister on a babysitting job, and the people there had a video game system. They had one of the first home video game type systems. And so I played it a little bit. You may have heard of it. It was called Pong. So that was the first video game I played, Pong. And after that, I remember seeing the first arcade-style machine that I remember seeing was Asteroids. It was not quite the same as they ended up looking later on. This thing, it had this huge kind of, kind of an old-style rounded TV screen. And so on, and it cost 50 cents to play it before they became really common, and you paid a quarter for most of them. And after that, I probably played most of the video games that were out there, because video games were arcade machines. You know, you get up there and you pop a quarter into that thing, and then you could play until you run out of lives, or in some cases out of time. Usually it was, you'd get like 3 lives or whatever, and you'd play until that was gone. And yeah, I played a bunch of those. And then I went a long time where I didn't play any of them because I didn't have money. And I didn't do a whole lot of gaming as I got older. I didn't have time, and there was responsibilities and so on and so forth, and spending money for them and time playing them was just something I couldn't do. And then 1999 or around 2000, I forget exactly when, but I knew it was still fairly new-ish. I got a hold of, in fact, I still have them laying around here somewhere, a couple of CD-ROMs. One of them was Fallout 1, and the other was Fallout 2. I remember spending quite a bit of time on both of those. And didn't really do a whole lot of gaming after that until in March of 2011, I discovered this new thing called Minecraft. And the rest, as they say, is history. And yeah, that just kind of blew up and got huge. And honestly, I still have the Minecraft world that I made back then. My single player world. It's the one that I created on, I believe it was the 24th of March, 2011. And there have been over 300 episodes in that world. And I still have it. And in fact, I'm actually been thinking recently that I think maybe I need to do something about getting that world out again. And get back to making episodes. So that might even happen sometime soonish. I certainly hope so. And maybe not commit to anything huge, just go like an episode a week. I think that might be cool. So I may do that. Mind you, don't call that a carved in stone guarantee, because things don't always work the way you think they will. But I'm thinking I may give that a shot. In fact, there is another Minecraft series that I have also been considering the idea of returning to, because I have a modded series that is based on the Direwolf 20 Season 7 pack. And I never finished that one either. In fact, that one has been put on hiatus twice now, for very long periods of time each. And that's another one. I still have that world, and I still have the instance of modded Minecraft that powers it. So I may try to get back to going on with that too. That I think would be a good idea. And in other news, I've been thinking about bringing back a third thing, but that one's going to take some work to get set up, so I'm not even going to say much about that until it's actually ready to work. Okay, I have been blathering off here, getting away from the questions, so let's get to another question after I decide if I have to make more boats or not. Yes, I do. So let me make some boats. Okay. Grab this and then realize that while I was doing that, the terrain filled in, and I don't really need a boat to get across this. Okay, anyway, the next question is not actually a question. A name that I'm not even going to try to pronounce because it just doesn't work in my brain right now. They suggest add some ads in your video to make a little more, maybe. Well, as you may know, on my gaming channel, I do have monetization going, and as I was for a long time, I had it on the vlog channel here too, until YouTube changed the rules. You see, I got YouTube partnership back when they didn't give it to just anyone. Yeah, back in 2011, I believe it was, when that happened. And so on. And then they changed the rules and said that to be monetizing, you have to have 4,000 hours of watch time during the last year. And I forget what else. You know, that was the big one. And I had over the last year or so, I've been trying to work on that. And I'm actually at the point now where I could do that. I have, in the last 365 days, I have over 300,000 hours, or 300,000 minutes of watch time. So I could do that, and I've been thinking about it. And we'll see. I am not committing one way or the other right now. Let's see. Next up, Old Gamer says, "Good morning, Chef. What 3 YouTube channels would you say you watch the most? Have a great day and thumbs up." Okay, well, thank you. What 3 YouTube channels would I say that I watch the most? Generally speaking, while I do watch a reasonable amount of YouTube videos, I don't actually consistently follow any 1 or 2 or 3 specific channels right now. There were times when I have. But for the last year or two, nothing really specific. You know, I'll watch a few videos from this person, and I'll watch from that person, and so on. Okay, I could say one. In that I usually watch the Hermitcraft recap. Not always, but usually. Let's see. Get up over this thing. Beyond that, I can't really say. It's hard to pick out certain YouTube channels to say I'm watching these all the time. I have been thinking about going back and rewatching Coast Quest again, because epic nostalgia just wants to happen sometimes when you go back and rewatch some of your old favorites from way back in the day. And I've watched through that series many times, and I've been thinking about doing that again. So for the space of a little over 200 episodes, I would be watching that channel a lot. The thing is, when I start doing something like that, I binge watch. You know, it's like, well, the last time I watched that particular series, I started with episode 1, and I was watching 10 to 20 episodes a day. You know, and it's possible to do that when, like me, you have no life. You know, just for that, just because I know there's going to be somebody that says, you know, how can you manage to watch that many videos in one day? It's easy when you don't have a life. Yeah. Yeah. You know, if I actually had a life with getting up out from in front of the computer and being social and hanging around people and seeing people and doing things with other human beings, yeah, that would be a lot harder to do. But, yeah. Okay, I need to start looking for a hidey hole because it's getting late in the third day here. Yeah, okay. So I think that's... Okay, time for one more. Previously known as Marina Yanchuk asks, what is the craziest hairstyle you've ever worn? Or what is the craziest hairstyle you've worn? I honestly have never done crazy hairstyles. It's just not me. So, yeah. I think probably the craziest hairstyle I have ever worn would, well, in my opinion, it was crazy. And I hated it. And this would be when I was a kid at one point. You know, one of the first times that I was trusted to go ahead and do the thing of going to the barber myself and getting that taken care of myself instead of having one of my parents take me there and do that. And I walked in there and I got up in the big chair and I told the man I wanted a trim, and wouldn't you know it, I walked out of that place with a complete, total, absolute disgustification of a buzz cut. I mean, total, absolute, raw clippage. And it was disgusting. I hated it. Because I figured, you know, hey, I'm doing this and so on, and yeah, well, that didn't work. Somebody made a call while I was on the way and told him what to do. Yeah, I was so in love with that. Anyway, I could ramble for another half an hour just about that one thing, about how much I ended up hating and distrusting anybody in the haircutting or barbering business for many, many years because of that. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take it easy. I am out of here.